Okay, so to take us further to the next topic is Mr. Biodun Kolawole, and he would be taking us on the topic skills for the future. But I'll quickly read his short profile. Second, please. So Mr. Biodun Kolawole is the author of The Millionaire Teacher. He's very passionate about educational development in Nigeria, Africa, and the world. He leads the following initiatives: School Choice, which provides parents and sponsors with useful and detailed information to make informed choice of school. School Health, which is a comprehensive health check for schools to improve the quality of education, build sustainable institutions, and assess more resources. He also runs trainings, which are cutting-edge training to equip today's educators and managers in performing their roles. And he's a consultant, and he is taking us on the topic, skills for the future. Mr. Biodun Kolawole, you have the floor.
Grace, that was very warm. Thank you very much. I appreciate you very well. Let me say that this morning is a privilege to have the Honorable Commissioner for Education in our midst, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo. She's been in the last few minutes, and we want to appreciate you for coming. Let me also say I appreciate the whole team of COPAD. We are together in this. It's been a journey. Pastor Bowo, thank you for leading this and pulling this through. Grace, you worked so hard to host this event for this school. And the previous speaker was just electric. I feel I should just stop and we should all just go home and rest. Mrs. Serikioni, that was deep and rich. So I'll be standing and trying to start from where you just stopped. Then you'll still listen to other fantastic speakers like Mrs. Didi Oluwak. Don't miss Mrs. Dio.
It has gone out. They're hearing me now. You might start me now.
The trick. Then you will also notice that we have Mr. Benga coming up. Then the Honorable Commissioner is here for all of us. It will be an engaging day. It's a new journey we are starting at COPAD, and I know
from Wankwo Ngozi, New Hope Okoko. The teaching is highly interesting and educative.
How we can look at it in the old dynamics. The first dynamics is that we're having, this is like the first of kind multi-site virtual event. So I can see people from Vantage Foundation, a lot of people are watching us in different groups, and I can say this is quite innovative, and we are quite impressed with what is going on. Education must get better, education must change. So today we'll be looking at what I call the skills for the future. And,
excuse me, Mr. Biodun. Yes. Can you please increase the volume? Because it is a little, yes, increase the volume, please. Okay. Thank you.
I hope it's better like this.
No, it's not yet. No.
How do I get that done? Okay, let me see if I can try something else. Pardon me, let me just sort this. We'll have a great time together. Hello, is it better?
Not so great.
How is it? Hello?
Better.
Is it better like this?
No. It was better. Something's happening.
Okay, let me check up. How is this?
A lot better, thank you.
A lot better. Okay, so fantastic. I'm in already. I can be heard very well. Okay, thank you. That's thank you for that feedback. I will have run the session on a low voice. Benefits of coming like this. So we want to talk about the skills for the future, and because I have a very short time, I know the sessions are being recorded, so I assume there are things I'm going to run over that you probably want to listen to again and again, and therefore gain better and strong, greater insights that will be useful for you in your personal life. By summary, as I look at this, is that we are approaching the future, and the reality is that the future that we have in our hands, like Mrs. Seriki said, it's not clear, it's not ABC, but there are frameworks we need to work with in order to travel or raise children who will travel successfully into their future. So that's just what we want to run. I like to start by this next slide that talks about VOCA period. VOCA is a period of what was invented in 1974. They call it VOCA in 1974. I wonder what they would have called it if they live post-corona. It was two researchers that said that we are dealing with a lot of volatility, uncertainties, complexities, and ambiguity. So before then, you notice that a lot of organizations could do 20-year plan, 50-year plan. But what this period brought everybody to is that we couldn't plan for that long because the certainties are not there. They are not sure. So you want to look at banking, for instance. You want to see how everything has changed in the banking industry in the space of 20 years. You want to look at media and see how media has transformed. You know, jokingly, I was sharing with people that have lived in a generation that experienced the old world, and I'm also seeing the emergence of the new world. I knew when we used to take tally numbers in banks. I knew when TV used to start at 4:30 and close at 10 after the network news. I knew where they were limited. I knew where all of these things are and how the world has shifted to where it is. And I don't take it for granted as the world has gone through many of the shifts. Then that's where we have to change our style, develop new ways of learning, and we cannot stick with the old way. So that's why I say next in the next slide to the educators that in what does VOCA period means to us? What are we going to do if we are going to see the results we are seeing? How is it impacting us in education, the VOCA times that we describe, and how better can we prepare for it? Please, next slide, because I'm trying to meet up with to cover everything. How does this VOCA period impact us in education? That's why I'm here, and also as educators, knowing that post corona, we all know that the old classroom setting is not the same. For instance, we are aware that everything around the classroom, the attention span of the children reduced, many of the indices are the career path is not sure. Let's just go through some of the specifics. Next slide, please. So you can see the jobs of the future. So before now, you could plan to be a computer operator, you could want to be a typist, you could want to help, and you know, those courses are in our polytechnics, they are all over in our schools, even up to date. But you can see the present job we are talking about. How many people ever know that there will be a job called the digital marketing specialist? How many people knows what there will be cloud specialist, service specialist? Sorry, what's the job that you will call a blogger some 20, 30 years ago? Probably if you see him or her staying at home and writing, you probably want to say you're a writer, you're writing a book. But here are people, and when you know, sometimes when I see these guys in entertainment in this new world, like Macaroni, Agbawoli, and all of them creating entertaining content and short skits, that's just 2 years, 3 years old industry in our country. I want to say that what course will they have studied that will prepare them for who they were going to be in the future with their own gift mix, with the emergence of the world? And I must warn that as we look at all of these, the world is still not going to be the same. So they are emphasizing clearly that there will be more future jobs. And like Mrs. Sediki shared with us, said that what they have realized is that it's clear that there will be 85 million job loss in the next 5-10 years, but there will be a gain of another 97, and that the world must get excited. So please, what we are saying is that imagine you are teaching today, and you are teaching only for today. You are teaching the way you are taught in the past, and you are pushing the knowledge, the route learning, and doing all of those things in the same way, just to prepare the children for the past or for the present. Will you be fair on them if they get to the future and realize that all they have been taught is not useful for the future they are in? Will they be grateful to the educator that simply taught them math the way he or she was taught math and frustrated them in the cane and with all the tools he or she has to ensure he pushes the math into their head, and they get to know that with this math they now understand, they were taught in school, they could not apply it. And when they say the subject of people are unemployable, this is what makes people unemployable, because they've got skills, they've got things that they don't find useful as they cross to their major terrains in life. And that must be your focus as an educator, that we are not just teaching for them to pass exam, we are not just teaching for them to get by and get good grades, we are teaching that they will get equipped in the future. Every other thing is a pathway on that. The most important thing is that the child wakes up in 2025 or 2035 and found the foundations of what you have laid for him or her, for him or her to build on, thrive on, and more importantly, to shape the future of his or our world. That will be the greatest, and we must become mission minded in the deploying of our solutions in our interaction with the student that we teach today. Not feeling that we are teaching so that we'll just get good grades. Good grades are fantastic. I think that should be the focus of every teacher. But while we get a good grade, we are equipped effectively for the future. Let's look at the next thing, the contrasting career. That's the first one. The second thing is, hello. Okay, I will have to shift here. The second thing I want to say about that is that there are other parts to it. After we've discussed the vocal, look at the top skills the world is saying that we need. So you can look at 3 marks of time. That's what you have on this slide, and you can go to the specifics and use it to measure that what has been stable in the new world in what we are trying to discuss. So the World Economic Forum starts in 2015. Before 2015, the one on your far right of what you have there, they said the first thing was going to be people have to develop different type of competencies in order to survive in the workplace. And one of the things these are the first 10 they think was the most useful in 2015. So you have complex problem solving. And I tell people that when you teach math class and you remove problem solving from in math class, you are not helping a child to connect to the future. You look at coordinating others. All of these things are skills that we can put into our geography, into our physical science and social studies and everything, and watch that a child develops these skills that we have. So we have a bit of shift of it in 2020, like you have on the slide. You have critical thinking moving up. You add creativity, which was number 10, jumping up. You add things like emotional intelligence coming into play like that. So we're looking ahead. If we stay from 2021, and we need to ask, what are they saying again for 2020, for 2025 and 2030? This is 5 years analysis. You will realize that complex problem solving still makes the third. Critical thinking and analysis, creative thinking also makes the top. However, this analytical thinking and innovation, the baseline is that when you create, you also learn that that's a baseline for creativity, and they are calling those are some of the most important skills for the future. How will you not connect to these as an educator, knowing that we are not preparing people for 2015, but these things have stayed with us in a frame for 10 years? It must transform our teaching and how we teach. It must change the frame of what we call success and dynamics in education. If we are going to do, we have to be deliberate, looking at how to put these in exercises, put these in examination, put this in classwork. Tell people that you must be like Mrs. Oni shared. When you break the two team, we are teaching collaboration. You are teaching that come out with something original, creativity. You know that becomes important to you as a 21st century teacher where you are, because who they are is more important than what they know or what they can do sitting in your classroom like that. So you will not malign any student because you are focused on these dynamics, new competences the world is calling them to be. The working with people is also critical because as a result, I might not be able to get there, as a result of a lot of attachment to the screen, you watch that a lot of students have developed poor ability for them to sit and work with other people. And I tell people that it is in working with people that you learn conflict resolution. When you understand that working with people help you to know that conflict will be present, you will increase your negotiation skills. You will help that you can get out of trouble with each other, trying to know that conflict are normal in our world because of abuse. But if you sit with a digital device all day, your ability to resolve conflict reduces. So that's one of the balances that Graham was sharing with us, that it has to be the dynamics of the two things, not just restrict all of us to digital world, because this is going to call on all of us to work together like never before. Let's have the next slide, please. Now, let me talk about the outdated learning frameworks. And if I ask you these questions, I like to be very practical. What are the 4 factors of production? Can you remember these factors of production? If you can't, just type it in the chat box. The number one they taught us, the 4 factors of production. You can remember labor, you can remember capital. Can you? Very well. Okay, let me ask people, how applicable was this dynamics in your in your day, and now you have tried to produce your lesson note or produce the coordination of a school. Will you depend on land? Is it labor? What do you call labor? Labor has a new name now. It's called teams. Are you getting that? Because you need to build people into teams for them to be effective in the sense of collaboration, defining strong objective for people. In the midst of this in the midst of these transitions in our world, educators can't stay on the old lane and tell people that when they come to class, there are 4 factors of production and teach it like Adam Smith and all his colleagues taught it in the 18 something, and that will make for an economic class. Then we complain that the students are frustrated because these guys have gone on Google. They have read about Mark Zuckerberg, they have read about Elon Musk, they have learned about even Bill Gates, and they're asking, is this all Bill Gates had? Is this all Bill Gates had for him to become all that he is today? And that question must also come in. And people have asked me, Biedu, so you want me to teach something that will not make them pass exam? I said, because we have quite some part of our learning framework outdated, it's good you glaze it and tell people that even though I'm introducing you to the factors of production, what do you think about it? What are the new things you've learned about it that you yourself think are new factors of production outside what they have given us in our text? It is in that way that we can go on the journey. So today I tell people that do we realize that all of a sudden technology has become a factor of production? If you agree with me, raise your hand. Just show by your hand. Technology has become, please the next slide, so that I can use how technology has entered into these two dynamics that has affected it. So for example, look at the world of labor. We are talking about artificial intelligence and robotic. Yeah, AIs are going to do some things that human beings are doing, and the factors of production changes from the labor mind to look at working from home, for example. Look at what working from home has done. Look at what outsourcing has done. So with the concept of labor, if you put in the Adam Smith spirit to describe what concept of labor is, you cannot connect in an economics class. Like a teacher who understand that, yes, there are changes going on. People work from home, they outsource, people are in their homes, there are global skills required. So there are people who work in in Canada, their offices are in Nigeria, there are people who work in Nigeria and their offices are in Canada, serving global clients, developing global competencies. You will be able to communicate with a child that, yeah, the world you are living in, I understand, is boundless. The framework of it is, I will explain the small part of labor to you. Look at what we call land. Land used to be a major factor of production. So you hear people like Bill Gates, where is the land Microsoft has to make that type of money they have? Where is the land that Elon Musk has to make that type of money that they have? So what we call space, digital spaces, are changing our definitions. And sometimes our industry can be very conservative to live in that denial and tell ourselves like, no, we want to stay with what is familiar. But I challenge you, begin to introduce the realities to your classroom. That's the best way we can skill up for the future, so that you can have mini conversation, the group work, the project that you can ask people to your students, even though they might be from the low income side. They need to think about the future. They really need to know what is going on and not to be lost in the world. So let me just wrap up with this final two. How many people have heard about capital crowdfunding, how people come together and crowdfund projects? Like you will imagine, anybody all over the world just drops the one. Look at what we call the blockchain technology at the moment. It's influencing what we truly call capital. It's changing everything about what we believe and what we are familiar with. And if we are really gone into a conservative space that I grew up with, I mean, in our time, there were things possible. There are places we just stop and tell ourselves nothing else should go beyond this. These guys are pushing the frontiers. The confusing thing about this, and I must say to this group, is that the people doing these things and shaking the world are from other part of the world, and they are young, they are in their 20s. When I read about some of these guys and what they have broken into and what they are able to do, I just wonder for the Nigerian child who has their gift mix and asks, how is the educator recognizing that sometimes there's a Mark Zuckerberg in your class and you might not be able to recognize him or her? It might be the tallest, it might be the dullest in your class. You can say it does not face Facebook, then they will tell you that there is Facebook 2 or Facebook 3, like that. And these are people shaping the world because
you have to open up for the possibilities, engage. That's why in your class I challenge you, do never in your life write out any child. Don't write them off. Walk with them at their pace. Like Mrs. Oni also shared with us, use their language. I think language is one of the points of connection that we can use to connect the digital native with the digital immigrant. You know, those we call the digital immigrant. Don't worry, I'm one of you. Very well. But you know that language connects us. When we speak the language they speak, they feel we are in their world, and therefore we can use conversations and not the tall other instructions to help them become all that they can be. And that's when we have really taught. Until they become all that they can be, I don't think we have done enough justice to what we call teaching and education in the world. So I want to talk about this TREP model, and I want a bit of interactions around this TREP model. I call it TREP. You still find the meaning of TREP in the next slide. But look at today's entrepreneur. Today's entrepreneur is not going to make candles. Hello. He's not just going to make a soap and say I am an entrepreneur. Let me show you what I saw recently. The next slide, please. Okay. If you can see the screen, I need you to shout it. What did you see on your right side and on your left side of the screen?
Ewedu.
Ooh, you know, Ewedu is called easy jute. It's called jute in the English. Apologies for people who don't understand Yoruba like that. Hello. So look at the beautiful package. You can see Ewedu. I know. We all know Ewedu very well.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, very good, very good. They have said this, but I can see Ewedu coming up in the group, so you know it very well. But look at what we have on your left hand of the screen. That's somebody who reviewed what I wish. Who can't see anything? Somebody said she can't see anything. Hello?
I can't see the Ewedu. Okoro right. I can't see.
That's the leaf on the right hand.
There is a leaf on the right hand side. There is another package that they wrote easy jute.
Okay, I've seen it.
The one on the left is dried Ewedu.
Yes. Well packaged.
At Walmart.
Yes, one is being sold at Walmart. You know what Walmart is in our world? That's the largest supply chain.
I see it.
Seriously.
The well packaged one.
Yes.
Okay.
So look, if you now teach a child in Nigeria entrepreneurship, please let's all mute, please, so that I can run very fast. So if you teach a child in Nigeria to plant and do agric and make soap and do all of these entrepreneur that we do, but you as a teacher don't understand the dynamics of what technology can do, you will miss out on what you call entrepreneuring or enterprise for that child. So a child in Nigeria grows up and learns how to plant Ewedu. Beautiful. But there is another child somewhere in the US, in the UK, internationally, that thinks about how he or she is going to put it on global stores. So I request everybody to mute, please, so that we can move very fast. So because they are living in a global space, they need to understand global dynamics in the classroom. They need to have global thought. Their dreams have to hit the ceiling. You've got to open their creativity so that when they are producing, they think of a world that is outside their world, not just produce for only for my family to eat. And I want to put body, I'll talk about that body and soul together later. But you can see an entrepreneur that we have raised in Nigeria, and you can see the entrepreneurship globally. The tables are shifting and turning. And you as a teacher must be engaged in a bit more research and tell children and your students what is possible in as they engage the world, not just to understand these limited factors of production, but to see how they can leverage on a global space and also leverage on technology for their dream, knowing that from Beardo's postulation, now technology is part of factors of production. Because just tell me one sector in our world that does not use technology in terms of their production at the moment, like that. And also, if you know that your dreams are not going to be living there locally, you've got to think of a global market. So like I said in the class earlier, I said to them that when we teach our children that they want to start fashion classes, they think of sewing for 10 people in a week, and that's a big breakthrough. I said that's really the fault of Nigeria. But when somebody grows from China, and when he enters the production cycle, he or she is thinking about producing 10,000 per day. That's where the journey to creating is starting from. That's where the skills of the future belong for an African child. He cannot just produce, he needs to know how to engage the globe and the space. And whether it's from Ajegule or from Ibeju or from Oluyole in Ibadan or from Akwa Ibom, we've got to push the frontiers that these are benefits of technology, and I challenge you to dream. Let me see how serious I take this. So there was a popular private university in Nigeria. And during the COVID period, you realize that a lot of us had to rely on online classes. And here was a lecturer who wanted to teach them entrepreneurship 101 or 102. So he started the class by, oh, I'm your teacher today for entrepreneurship, blah, blah, blah. You have to follow this course, blah, blah, blah. So one student rose up and asked him, sir, not ask him, just said it, so, like you could talk while I am talking now. That's the benefit of a new generation and time. Says, just ask him for the bills. How many businesses have you started, sir, for you to be able to teach me entrepreneurship? Guess what the teacher did? The teacher shut down. Who is that talking? You can't know who is talking. Time has gone for that. So the everybody is asking, they're asking you a question that for this topic you want to teach, are you qualified to teach it? That's in an advanced class anyway. And I told them that if the teacher only understood that it was an opportunity. Let's mute up, please.
There's something.
Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. You just need to increase the mic a little, sir.
Okay.
You can hear you.
Like, you can hear me very well. I mean, people can hear me very well.
Loud and clear now.
Loud and clear now.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, I said. Yeah, thank you. I said, if only that teacher knew that it was an opportunity to tell the student that, look, I have failed in 2 businesses before. I tried to sell Bolly and Ekpa, and the Bolly did not work. That's why I'm in class to teach you entrepreneurship. I've learned ways that it does not work. This is how it works, and I'm here to tell you how it works like that. What I'm trying to say is that you're going to sit in class with students who are asking questions you never asked before, who are going to confront what you call knowledge like never before. But it's a skill. If you combat it, their questions are worth pondering over, they are worth preparing for, so that you can create and prepare them for the future. The future is not going to shut them down. It's you that you can shut them down. So questioning is part of the skills they need on their path of creativity, and you must not be intimidated to let them ask questions and have conversations. And sometimes, let me tell you how it is. Sometimes you don't even know the answer to their question. Tell them you will find out that you don't know for now. That's a vulnerable teacher who is scaling up the child for the future, because you must learn to question things as you grow. As you find things out, you question them so that you can have something. I want to get somewhere. That's why I'm in a hurry. Can we go to the next slide? I must thank Mrs. Moji for doing this for us and ensuring that we have smooth transitions. I appreciate. So I want to challenge every educator that you cannot give what you do not have. You've got to understand what I call the TREAP model, TREAP model. You've got to be an example. When I teach it in a specialized educator sector, I ask every teacher must be a 5-star teacher. When I use 5-star, it's deliberate. It's used in the army. It's used in the military. That's the highest military rank you can ever attain. But you must understand that this is how you can be that educator, that you can't take to people to where you have not been. You can't give what you don't have. I'll wrap up with that. You've got to embrace these dynamics in order for you to be able to give it, because this happened at the most subconscious part in the classroom. Let me start with thinking. Please, the next slide. So you need to know that the depth of education is useless if it does not impact on how people think. What the people think about and how they think are the most important element that education must touch. So in your class, the first emphasis is that you must be a thinker. A thinker questions, a thinker asks questions, it researches, works in group, and is not intimidated at what he or she knows for now. And is also an active learner like that, because somebody might know something different from what you know, and you let that open. Though they have, I wrote there like 6 dynamics. I believe you'll get the slide. 6 dynamics of thinking. We have what we call creativity. Creative thinking. Every child must, you saw that also popping up there. Creative thinking is critical for you in the 21st century. You've got to bring out solutions. There are challenges before us, and sometimes we'll have to solve this problem on our feet. We don't even know they were existing. They are here, and we've got to be that creative person that will think about the solution through the critical thinking mode. You've got to say that critical thinking is following logical sense. So you're not intimidated when people ask you logical questions, and when people ask you creative questions, or when people ask you to be able to be flexible from the way you are doing things and your common style. Not the way you have always done it, but the way you are trying to shape it into how you're doing to do it. Then you're going to talk about strategic thinking, understanding the future. The last two is really where I think Africa is deficient as a continent, is what we call the systemic thinking and global thinking. Systemic thinking bring you into a dynamics that you can think in system to solve a problem. The power of system is that it can touch millions of people all at the same time, because it's based on design thinking. Design thinking and system thinking work together. So you won't just do one thing and think about, oh, this is how I'm going to do it. You will think about it in how can it become a system that replicates itself and becomes something effective that all of us can be part of it. It's a big part that we have to all research on as educators in our world. There is a global thinking. I'm talking about the global space. So you are producing a wedu in your vineyard only for you to consume. Somebody is producing a wedu for Walmart. Who will be richer? I'll come into that. Who will be better? That's why I said our thinking has to shift. And every educator plays. You must impact the way people think, not just solve their math problem. That's becoming very important every day. And you do that with a lot of group work that you will challenge in your classroom. Next slide, I want to talk about relationship next. The power of relationship is that what cannot replace humans is human themselves. Now, I like the trend of high AI is coming up in our world and everything tripping up, and we have this new world there. You know, they've asked us that by 2030, human beings will likely compete with what AIs are doing. So we have a number of AIs also in their population. We'll count the numbers they are and all of those things. But I challenge you as educator. Our jobs, when I look at the jobs of the future, one of the ones they cannot replace is these jobs that we do as teachers. But every teacher has to understand that it's emotional intelligence that makes you different as a teacher. Is that you will be self-aware. You know, there are 4 angles to emotional intelligence. I hope that Mrs. Didiolu will build on that when she discusses the professional teacher. He says you must be aware of your capabilities, of what you have. You cannot be a teacher with low self-esteem in a low-income environment and you will think you'll bring out outstanding students. No. Your estimation about yourself has to fundamentally change. We are doing this as people who understand that there is an assignment to do, there is a world to touch, and you will be glad you're operating that space. And when you are there, you put in your best, you do your best at every opportunity that you can. Then when you are aware about yourself, you'll be able to self-manage differently. You know when you are most active and when you are most alive. Then your lesson notes will not be a burden for you to prepare. You know the best time you are getting to prepare, because this time I'm always my best. I'm going to do it about this time and this season. You'll put system around the routine activities that you're doing, and you'll be a very much effective teacher in how you achieve. Then you'll be aware of the social awareness. You will also know what people are and what they think. You are not the only one on earth. So, you know, one of the research I read recently, taking a course about American schools, is that they found out that when educators can't work together as a team, it reduces the overall performance of the school. So if you are the troublesome teacher that everybody is always fighting, there's a problem. There's something you are fighting. You've got to speak to a therapist. You've got to speak to a friend. Open up and don't bring that box to the school. And when people are also going through their issues because they don't have your type of experiences, you also give them their space because they are not you. That's what your social awareness and your relationship management helps you to do. And that's what educators must also understand. You won't use intimidation to teach a child. You can never intimidate a child to knowledge. It's going to be on a temporal basis. Then I'm asking every teacher to improve their social circle. I'm an advocate of that. I'm an advocate that, yeah, teachers must learn how to have friends who are not teachers and be able to have conversations with them. So those your old school mates, don't, because you're a teacher, withdraw from those circle and tell yourself that, no, I don't fit into their circle. That's a self-esteem problem. No, come up into circles that are not your normal, comfortable circle. Yeah, at the beginning you're done, but you are glad you're teaching to save the world. Every one of your classmates will have children that you are their savior and you are the only one that can teach them. And that's why I'm asking you that I'm making a call. We can't be in this cocoon and stay all by ourselves and think we're going to change the world. Our skills have to be brother. We've got to sit on the table with people that are not like us. And we use all the skills. So that forces you to develop. That forces you to do many things. That forces you to interact. In fact, that forces you to see more realities outside the classroom of what you teach day in, day out. Then I'm also an advocate that you have to develop skills to mentor what I call the 21st century student. Now, Mrs. Onishi had some tips with us on some of them. I don't want to go deeply into that. But please, the skill you will use is no more instruction. It has to be on conversation, asking questions to help them to model what they want to do and what they are going to choose to do. Don't forget, we deal with a generation silently that is more entitled and also they are opinionated. They know what they want to do. You know, in those days, if your father says you should study this, you know, there's a way you try to dodge it. This one will tell you, Daddy, I am not studying this. Teacher, I don't think this is right. Be used to them and be able to still communicate with where they are, ask them questions to help them unlock, and you won't always win. You need to open up that. Is mentoring, is guide, is holding their hands to their own success like that. And that's the skills I'm asking educators of the future to skill into. Yeah, that's going to be. Then, sorry, I've said that there will be a competition between human and machines, and how you can have edge is to develop strong emotional intelligence like that. And that's what was unique. Interestingly, they are doing AIs already that are competing with human emotions, but they cannot meet us with us in the next 20 years. And that's why I'm excited that if you develop these skills, another 20 years of your life is secured and safe. Let's have the next slide, please. Yeah, excellence. I ask every teacher to be a pursuer of excellence in their life. I can do a whole course on all of these things to help you see different sides, but I'm showing you the basic, because if you don't have a craving for excellence because of where you have been, because of your experience, you will miss out on developing people who can save the future. Mediocrity is a pain in our world. Every teacher has to understand that and tell a child and say, you cannot stay on the average. You must love to do things well. Let excellence ring in every classroom across our schools and every place. It's important that we do things at exceptional level and quality. The pain we are suffering as a society today is because we have people who are committed to mediocrity. We have a bunch of people who have sworn that mediocrity is okay for them. And mediocrity has pain. Mediocrity has poverty. Mediocrity has nothing in it for the African continent. In fact, there's mediocrity that has produced Africa to be a continent that has 40% of the resources of the world, and yet it only produces or contributes 2.67% to global GDP. Is mediocrity. Is our lack of knowledge that when we push in for the best of the best, we're actually empowering ourselves, empowering our brothers, empowering our generations to be better. And that excellence starts in the classroom. I ask every teacher not to give up. Okay, I hope I'm audible. I need somebody to confirm to me that they can hear me.
Yes, you are. You are,
Yes,
sir.
sir, we can hear
Yes,
you.
you're
Okay, I saw something in the chat room that says I wasn't again. So you sit back and ask yourself, the excellence makes you challenge your own limitation yourself. It makes you question what you have believed. It makes you sit down and say, this child everybody is giving up on in the school will be my assignment, and I will push him or her to stages that he or she cannot believe she will operate in. So I'm asking all of us in the culture of my organization that we have to shoot beyond survival. One of the reasons, one of the why people get stuck with mediocrity is that all they are living for is survival. And I've sat with leaders by the mercies of God. I've sat with rich people. I've sat with people who are doing fantastically well. I've sat with I'm privileged in my life. When I look at my journeys, I see that all of them have something in common. They are living beyond their desire to survive only. Survival breaks your life into pieces. It's shooting for significance, shooting for a sense of significance. Moving in the Maslow's theory, inverting that, and I don't have the time this morning, I will have shown you how that works. Inverting that triangle is a lot of work, it's a lot of struggle. But as you begin to invert it, you begin to look for what is the most important part of your life, which is the potentials you carry, which is what you are designed to do, which is this teaching you have in your hands, which is what you do is making the world complete. How you can make children also know that this is a significant thing to pursue with your life. And excellence must start from the classroom. I don't have time. Let me run. I think my time is really running. Let's go to the next slide. That will be on achievement. Achievement is critical to all our world. So I'm asking people the least one. I love John Wooden's story. He said, never mistake activities for what? For achievement. They are two different things. Hello, when people come to class and they are engaged and they are coming alive, one of the subconscious lessons children learn is how you set them up to achieve goals like that. Life is about goals and achievement of it. Yeah, when we have a football match, have you seen a very interesting football match and there is no goal post? Will you love it? Will you watch that type of game? The reason why we are all here is that there is something to do. So today is an achievement on Grace, on Pastor Bowen, a lot of people who work hard. Life is not just sitting around and watching and gossiping and saying and wondering. It's that people must set smart goals to themselves. They must be resourced enough to say that these goals are not just going to be smart, they will be audacious goals that you're going to set for the class. That you're going to say, this thing has not been done before in any of my class. I will increase my class percentile by another 20%, by another 50%. Is that you will sit with yourself and even learn the dynamics that makes for achieving goals easy. I call that one the 5 neurological levels of change. You need to go to the environment you need. So a 21st century teacher, you see that is also skilled in all of these skills so that he can watch children that no matter how the future appear, no matter the VOCA in the future, sorry, you know what we mean by VOCA now. VOCA means volatility, uncertainty, complexities, and ambiguity. No matter the 4 combinations in the world, these are bedrock skills, competence that children can have, the students from your class can have, embrace, that can help them navigate into all the changes that the world is presenting and is still going to present like that. Then you're going to know that it's hard to be an achiever if you don't understand the concept of mentoring, of accountability, and of resources, because relationships are resources, not just monetary resources. So you begin to show them, one of the things poor people have done to their to children is that they tell people that there is nothing you can do without money. I'll get there shortly. I think that's the last one I'm going to wrap up with. Let's go to the next slide because of time.
2 minutes more, please.
How many minutes more, please, Grace?
2 minutes, please.
2 minutes more.
Yes, sir.
Grace, I thought you were going to tell me 5 minutes more. Anyway, I think I did better. I ran at a very high speed. So there is this silent thing inside all of us that they've taught us as teachers that you see that you are passionate, or you are profitable. But I came to tell you that you can be purposeful and profitable too. It's hard. They've asked us to choose between passion and profit. I came to tell you, passion, profit, and purpose are together on that journey. It's hard for a poor teacher to raise a rich generation. And when I say poverty, I don't mean credit and bank account numbers. If you think poorly, your children cannot connect with you in the class. And one of the fundamental way I know you're poor is that if you wait for money before you do anything in life, and you keep telling people that is a poor man proverb. What of the concept of planning? What of the concept of dreaming? And Grace here can explain what has happened to them and the project. I've seen how she does a fundraising activity. The big important is that there are goals. There are goals. There are things we want to achieve. There is a way we are thinking. There are resources and relationships we have. And that's when a child can understand crowdfunding around this dream or a dream and not use money to say, if I don't have money, I cannot start this idea. He can know the principle of starting little because the teacher is that embodiment of knowledge. Not that you will be a billionaire in account and you have billions. No, the little you have, you will do so much with it. You will expand it because you are rich in your thought and in your mind. Then you have to deal with money behavior. Money behaviors, I don't have time. I think I've covered quite a lot. How you teach your profit and loss. I'm always afraid that teaching selling price minus cost price, SP minus CP, and children will have to cram in the 21st century. It's because you yourself don't understand business to an extent. If you know that this is how I do other things apart from this is how I buy and sell. This is what it's about. The lessons will probably come alive with the child. The child will look at himself or herself differently and say, this thing works. I must learn how it does. My last warning is that you must understand globalization and digitalization. What you have today, we have 100 people in this classroom. Some people are locked out. It's the first of its kind. We are all in our spaces that is comfortable for us to sit. We are not paying for a venue particularly. We are leveraging on technology and digitalization and global. People from Ghana are going to join us very soon. People from Kenya are going to join us very soon. People from all over the world can be part of it. I was watching Anthony Robbins a few days ago. He's doing a conference that about 830 people are all logged on. 830,000 people. About 1 million people are logged on from all over the world. And I'm asking teachers to climb into these spaces. Yeah, the knowledge spaces, the power of what you know and how you want to share it with the world. You must be exceptional to feel you will come to that level anyway. But you must be operating at that depth of thought that I can teach the globe math, I can teach the globe this, and every child must listen to me. The next slide, I think I'm almost wrapping up, Grace. I'm almost too serious. You will see me that is the second to the last. Yeah, remember where I start from? We give who we have. We cannot give what we don't have. Educators, I am saying this to us. Can we echo it together? We cannot give what we don't have. We give what we have. We give who we have. I give who I am. If I am not it, there is no way I can give it. So I'm asking you.
We don't have.
Yeah,
We give.
we give who we have. That's the lesson for today. If you don't get anything, know that sometimes you change because you have to change other people. Sometimes you alter your life not for your sake, but for the sake of the people you are called to alter their life. That humbles you to go extra mile. And that's why we are here. Skill up for the future. Please. Let's produce skills also that will be relevant in the future. Can I have the next slide? And I must thank everybody for listening to this presentation. It's been an engaging 40 something minutes together. I hope you will have the skills for the future. I will be relevant through our career time. I'll see you at the question time. And for your questions, it's such a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Building Kolawale. That was very rich. Again, okay, so can we have the screen, the full screen, because I'd like to see everybody. Thank you. So if we know that Mr. Building Kolawale did a great job, we are going to roll and clap for him. So today we are the students, we are the children, we are the learners, and the facilitators are our teachers. So we are going to roll and clap. We all know the roll and clap, like we do to our kids. And then we tell Mr. Building, you are great. Are we ready? Good.
Yeah.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Dreams from the slum. I must see your people do it. So we're gonna roll and clap. You don't want to do it, but you want your children to listen to you in class. You see the problem? We're gonna do it together. We only want to go. Roll and
Let's go. You are great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Great.
So just a recap, you say we cannot give what we don't have. We give who we are. And a teacher with low self-esteem cannot produce students of learning. who are excellent and to improve your low self-esteem. I think one of the things he said is to improve your social circle. I think it's been a very rich learning experience so far. Thank you for the feedbacks. We're getting feedbacks from everywhere, from our personal messages in the chat room. Thank you for the feedbacks. And we're going to go on a break. But before we go on a break, we're going to watch one video, take a break, and then come back. Can I advise you, please do not log out. If you log out, you might not be able to come in because there are too many people on the waiting list. So when you get out, someone else takes your place. So if you're going to go on break, you might just maybe switch up your data, or just hang around. For the centers that have a little bit of activities, we can go ahead with that. So we're going to watch a